The archival chamber of Zenith 7 had stood untouched for 63,000 cycles. Its crystalline walls held the collected wisdom of 17 extinct civilizations, each tablet a fragment of knowledge salvaged from the ruins of dead worlds. The Galactic Preservation Council had decoded 42 languages, translated 800,000 documents, and cataloged the rise and fall of empires that had turned to dust long before the first council ship ever left its home system. But the 10,000 tablets in Vault Omega remained impenetrable. Dr. Veltas of the Thranix Communion stood before the sealed chamber, her sensory tendrils trembling with frustration. Behind her, the council's finest linguists, representatives from 9 different species, waited in silence. They had spent 200 cycles attempting to decode the tablets. Every algorithm had failed. Every comparative analysis had yielded nothing but noise. "The patterns are inconsistent," Veltas said, her translator rendering her chemical signals into galactic standard. "The symbols change meaning mid-sequence. The grammar violates every known linguistic structure. It's as if..." She paused, unwilling to voice the shameful conclusion. "As if they were never meant to be read." "Perhaps they are decorative," offered Kryn, of 4-armed felox whose species prided themselves on rational thought. "Religious totems. Ceremonial objects without actual content." Velthas's tendrils curled in disagreement, but she had no better explanation. The tablets had been found in a preservation matrix of unparalleled sophistication, protected by energy shields that had outlasted stars. Whoever created them had desperately wanted them to survive, yet they had made them impossible to understand. That was when the human arrived. Dr. Sarah Chen was an afterthought, really. Humans were the newest members of the galactic community, barely 300 cycles since first contact. They had no translation technology of their own, no linguistic databases spanning millennia. They were invited to council projects mostly out of politeness, a way to make them feel included while the elder species did the real work. Sarah walked into the chamber with the casual confidence that other species found either endearing or unsettling about humans. She carried nothing but a portable holo display, and wore the informal attire that marked her species' general disregard for proper academic ceremony. "Sorry I'm late," she said, running a hand through her dark hair. Transit from Earth took longer than expected. "What are we looking at?" Velthas began her briefing, explaining the 200 cycles of failure, the sophisticated analysis tools, the complete absence of any decryption key. Sarah listened politely, but her eyes were already fixed on the viewing screen displaying the first tablet. "Can I see more?" Sarah interrupted. "Just cycle through them quickly." Veltas hesitated, then activated the display. Tablet after tablet flashed across the screen, each one covered in the same baffling symbols, the same impossible-to-parse structures, the same linguistic chaos. Sarah watched for perhaps 90 seconds. Then she laughed, a short, sharp sound that made several council members recoil. "These are our warnings," she said simply. The chamber fell silent. Velthas's translator struggled with the ambiguity of the human statement. "Excuse me?" Kryn stepped forward. "Your warnings? Humanity didn't achieve interstellar flight until..." No, Sarah waved her hand. "Not ours specifically. I mean warnings. Human warnings. This is what warnings look like." She pulled up her holo display and began typing rapidly. Images appeared beside the alien tablets, photographs from Earth, road signs, hazard symbols, nuclear waste warnings. "Look," Sarah pointed. "This symbol here? It's used in 6 different contexts with 6 different meanings. This one violates left-to-right reading order deliberately. And this sequence," she highlighted a particularly chaotic section, "is literally designed to be disturbing, to create cognitive dissonance in the reader." Velthas moved closer, her tendrils extended in fascination. "But why would anyone do that?" Sarah's expression grew serious. "Because sometimes you need to communicate with the future, with people who don't share your language, your culture, or even your biology. And the message you need to send is, stay away, danger, death." She pulled up another image from her display, proposals from Earth's 21st century for marking nuclear waste repositories. The designs were deliberately alien, deliberately confusing, meant to last 10,000 years and warn off descendants who might not speak any current language. "We called it hostile architecture of meaning," Sarah explained. "You can't just write danger because languages die. You can't use symbols because symbols get reinterpreted, so you create something that feels wrong, something that makes the reader uncomfortable, something that, even if they can't translate it, makes them think twice before proceeding. She turned back to the tablets. Whoever made these didn't want them read, they wanted them felt. They wanted anyone who found them to experience the same sense of wrongness, of danger, that they felt about whatever they were trying to protect or warn against. Crin's forearms crossed skeptically. That's quite a logical leap, Dr. Chen. How can you be certain? Sarah pulled up a detailed scan of one tablet. Because I recognize this pattern. It's called a Borromean structure, something that only makes sense when viewed as a complete system but appears nonsensical in parts. We use it in warning systems precisely because it can't be partially decoded. Either you understand the whole message or you understand nothing. She pointed to another section. And this? This is semantic satiation, repeating a symbol until it loses meaning, creating psychological unease. She looked up at the assembled council members. These tablets aren't an archive of knowledge. They're a monument to fear. Someone, some civilization, encountered something so dangerous, so catastrophic, that they spent enormous resources creating a warning system designed to outlast their own culture. They knew their language would die. Their species might die, but they hoped the feeling of danger might survive. Velthus's tendrils had gone completely still, a sign of deep thought among her species. If you're correct, then what were they warning about? Sarah was quiet for a moment, looking at the 10,000 tablets that had consumed 200 cycles of the galaxy's best minds. I don't know, but they really didn't want anyone to find out. She turned to face the council members fully. My species has spent a lot of time thinking about how to warn the future. We've built weapons that can poison land for millennia. We've created diseases we can't cure. We've stared into a lot of abysses. Her voice softened. So maybe we're uniquely qualified to recognize when someone else has stared into one too. Crin's skepticism had faded into something like respect. What do you propose we do? Sarah looked back at the tablets one more time. The same thing we'd want someone to do if they found our warnings. Take them seriously. Map the location of this vault, note the danger, and mark it on every star chart in the council database. She paused. And then we leave it alone. But the knowledge, one of the linguists began. Isn't worth the cost, Sarah interrupted firmly. That's the whole point of warnings like these. Some doors should stay closed. She gathered her equipment and turned toward the exit. Besides, she added with a slight smile, if humanity has learned anything, it's that the universe has plenty of wonders we can explore safely. We don't need to poke every mystery, especially when someone went to this much trouble to tell us not to. As she left the chamber, Velthus looked at the tablets with new eyes, seeing not an academic puzzle but a memorial. A gravestone for knowledge too dangerous to preserve in any other form. The archive of Zenith 7 was sealed 30 cycles later. The coordinates were marked with the strongest warning the Galactic Council could devise. Hostile architecture of meaning for a new age, built on the foundation of human wisdom. Sometimes the bravest thing a species can do is walk away.